$350,000 in Houston doesn't buy one type of life. It can put you in a smaller home, closer to the city, where access and convenience carry most of the value. But that same budget, it could stretch into a larger, newer home further out where space becomes the main appeal. And both options may show up at the same price. However, living in them can feel completely different. And that's the part that most buyers miss when they start searching online. Because a listing, it can make two homes look equal. But Houston real estate just isn't that simple. One may save you time every day. Another, that might give you the extra bedroom, bigger kitchen, and yard you couldn't find closer to town. While the third option, it may look like the best deal until you add up ownership costs like taxes, insurance, and HOA fees. And let's not forget about the commute time. Oh, what about flood risk? How does that change the full picture? So today, I'm breaking down what $350,000 actually gets you in Houston right now, where that budget stretches, where it gets tighter, and how to think through the trade-offs before a house online starts making the decisions for you. Because at this price point, the goal isn't just finding the biggest home. The goal, that's to find the lifestyle that actually makes sense after you move in. Before we get into it, I'm Thomas Priddy. I'm a lifelong Houstonian and I help buyers, sellers, and relocators just like you make smarter real estate decisions in Greater Houston and in Cypress. If you're already looking at homes and wondering what your budget actually gets you, all you gotta do is text me. My information is in the description. People just like you reach out every week to compare neighborhoods, payments, taxes, commutes, and whether a house that looks good online actually makes sense in real life. There's no pressure at all. I'm just a text away and we can have a real conversation about your situation before you get too far into the search. Most buyers start their Houston search in a very normal way. They open Zillow, HOAs, or another search site, enter the budget, and begin to scroll through photos. Naturally, the biggest and newest homes get the attention first. And that makes sense because more space looks exciting. Newer finishes photograph well. A larger kitchen, extra bedroom, or a great floor plan in the suburbs can make the closer to central Houston homes feel overpriced by comparison. Then the reality check. Houston's market has trade-offs. At $350,000, the decision usually comes down to four things: space, location, age of the home, and the commute. You can usually win in one or two of the areas, but getting all four at the same time is much harder. And a newer home with more square footage may sit further from downtown Houston, while a closer in property may offer a shorter commute, but the home could be older, smaller, or in need of updates. While a townhome might solve the location problem, but you're giving up the yard. A suburban home may offer the lifestyle you want, but the daily drive has to make sense. And once buyers understand those trade-offs, the search gets less overwhelming. The question isn't which house looks the best, it's which compromise can I actually live with? That's where the real decision starts. If you want to stay closer to central Houston, $350,000 usually buys you convenience before size. That matters for people who work downtown, near the medical center, around the Galleria, or anywhere that makes commute time a major part of daily life. Closer in areas can give you access. You may be near restaurants, coffee shops, local businesses, entertainment, or an established neighborhood feel that's difficult to recreate further out. For some buyers, that convenience is worth giving up square footage. The trade-off though, is that home itself may not check every box. And at this price point, you may see older properties, townhomes, condos, smaller single-family homes, or houses that need updating. And a huge new suburban style house near the center of Houston is probably not the realistic expectation at $350,000. That doesn't make the closer in options bad. It just means you need to understand what you're buying. Many buyers aren't really buying the biggest home in this scenario. They're buying time. Because a shorter commute can change your entire routine. And less time in traffic may matter more than extra room. Being closer to the places you already use can make the smaller home feel easier to live in. Houston's traffic isn't a small detail. A commute that looks fine on a map can feel very different during the rush hour. I've seen buyers start out wanting the most house possible, then completely change their priorities after testing the drive. That shift is normal, but at some point, square footage stops being the only thing that matters. and daily quality of life starts to carry more weight. When you move further away from central Houston, $350,000 can start looking much stronger. This is where Houston stands out compared to many other large cities. In places like Cypress, Katy, The Woodlands, Conroe, and other suburban markets, the same budget may get you more space, newer construction, larger floor plans, better storage, and more of the features buyers expect from a modern home. And that can be exciting because a bigger kitchen, it feels good. A real backyard changes how the home functions. Newer systems may reduce immediate maintenance concerns. Community amenities, those can add a lot to daily life when you actually use them. For a buyer coming from a more expensive market, the suburban options around Houston can feel like a major upgrade. That's the upside. The trade-off though, convenience. The further out you go, the more carefully you need to evaluate your daily routine. Because a home may feel perfect during that weekend showing and still be frustrating if the commute wears you down. The drive, tolls, gas, time in the car, and your schedule all matter. A remote buyer can look at Cypress or Katy very differently from someone driving into downtown 5 days a week. A person working near the northwest side of Houston may find those suburbs much more practical than someone tied to the medical center. That's why I always tell buyers to test the commute before getting attached. Drive it during the time you would actually be on the road and don't rely on a map estimate. What's the point of buying the biggest home in your budget if the lifestyle around it doesn't work? Yes, more space is valuable, but it's not valuable enough to ignore how you live every day. If you're watching this and thinking, okay, but what does this actually look like for my situation? That's exactly what I help you figure out. All you gotta do is text me. We can look at where you work, what kind of lifestyle you want, how much space you need, and what your budget gets you in different parts of Houston. I'm just a text away. There's no pressure, just clarity before you start chasing the wrong homes. Around $350,000, buyers will often see new construction, especially as they get further away from downtown Houston. And that can be a great option. But focusing only on the model home can be a major distraction. Builders know how to make a home feel exciting. Finishes are clean, lighting is right, the floor plan feels fresh. Incentives, they make a deal sound even better. And sometimes new construction does make perfect sense. A buyer who wants lower maintenance, modern layouts, and a clean start may be a strong fit. But the problem starts when the house looks so good that buyers stop asking practical questions. How far is the closest grocery store? What will the commute feel like on a normal weekday? Is the surrounding area already built out, or are you buying into a community that still has years of construction ahead? How do the taxes compare to nearby resale options? Is this floor plan going to hold up when it's time to sell? Does the neighborhood have enough long-term demand? Those questions matter more than granite, cabinet color, or model home furniture. And one of the most common mistakes I see is stretching further out just to get the bigger house. That may work for some buyers. It can also backfire when your lifestyle doesn't match the area. A bigger floor plan doesn't automatically mean a better life. The right home, that needs to make sense for years to come, not just the first impression. It needs to work financially. The location should support your routine. The community should fit the way you actually live. Future resale can't be an afterthought. At $350,000, new construction can be a smart move in Houston, but the shiny parts can't do the thinking for you. Here's where a lot of buyers get surprised. The price of the home isn't the same as the cost of owning it. That matters. At $350,000, a house can look affordable online, then feel very different once the full monthly payment is totaled up. Taxes, insurance, and HOA dues are among other costs that can change the number. Does flood insurance need to be factored in? Utilities, maintenance, and commuting expenses can't be ignored. Two homes can have the same list price, but completely different monthly realities. One could be in an area with a higher tax rate. Another, further out. That adds fuel, tolls, and time. A third may need repairs sooner than the photos suggest. That's why comparing only purchase prices is a critical mistake you don't want to make. A home isn't affordable because of the list price. It's affordable when the full cost matches your life. Some buyers think moving further out automatically saves money. On paper, that may look true. Once commute, tolls, taxes, insurance, and lifestyle to factor in, that can change. The best move is to calculate the full cost of ownership before you fall in love with the home. At $350,000, that discipline matters, and small monthly differences can carry a heavy impact over time. Most buyers say they want the biggest home their budget can buy. And after working with people just like you at this price point, I don't think that's the whole truth. What they really want is balance. Enough space without feeling disconnected from the parts of Houston they actually use. A manageable commute, that matters more after the move than it did during the search. The payment, it has to feel comfortable enough that life doesn't become stressful every time another bill comes in. And a neighborhood should feel practical, not just affordable. The home needs to make sense now while still giving you a good position later. That's the real goal. Not just square footage, not just the newest kitchen, not just the shortest drive. A good home needs to give you the right combination of lifestyle, payment, location, and long-term flexibility. That's why I always want buyers to slow down before choosing the home that looks best online. Photos show only one version of the decision. Your day-to-day life will tell the rest. At $350,000 in Houston, buyers have real options. The experience changes dramatically depending on where that money goes. Closer to the city, you're paying for access, convenience, and time. Further out, the same budget may deliver more space, newer homes, and a more suburban lifestyle. Neither choice is automatically better. A smaller home closer in might be the right move for someone who values time and access. A larger home further out may be a better fit for a buyer who wants space, newer construction, and a quieter daily routine. The wrong decision, that happens when buyers chase one benefit without understanding what they're losing. Don't get emotionally attached to random homes online before you know the lifestyle attached to them. Because at this price point, the house is only part of the decision. Commute, taxes, insurance, condition, resale picture, and monthly comfort matter even more. The best $350,000 purchase isn't the biggest one. It's the one that fits your life. If you found this helpful, subscribe. I put out videos like this that break down Houston's neighborhoods, pricing, buyer mistakes, relocation decisions, and what it's actually like to buy here right now. If you want me to make a version of this at another price point, drop it in the comments below. And if you're already in the process or close to it at all you gotta do is text me. My information is in the description. We're gonna have a real conversation about what your budget gets you, where the trade-offs are, and whether the homes you're looking at actually make sense. No pressure, I'm just a text away. Because the goal, it isn't finding the biggest house your budget can buy, it's finding the lifestyle that actually works for your life. I'll see you in the next one.